allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome to the September 3rd, 2024 meeting of the Goffstown Zoning Board of Adjustment. The Goffstown Zoning Board is an elected board of 5 members and up to 5 appointed alternates. Currently, the board has 5 elected members and no alternates. If anyone is interested in serving on the Zoning Board of Adjustment, please contact the Planning and Zoning Office at Town Hall for more information. The board has a posted agenda for each meeting and tends to follow the items in order. The board will open the public hearing on an application to receive testimony from applicants, abutters, and affected parties, and ask questions about the appeal. The public hearing will then be closed and the board will enter into a deliberative session to discuss the merits of the appeal. For each application, the board will decide to approve with conditions, deny, or continue to a later meeting. You're welcome to watch the deliberations this evening, or you can call the zoning department at 603-497-8990, extension 815, to get the results tomorrow morning. For an applicant's request to be approved, there must be an affirmative vote of at least 3 members. An applicant can request a continuance if there is not a full 5-member board to act on an application. Let me note that we have 4 members tonight. Denise Langley, the vice chairman, is not in it. And then, so just if anyone wishes to exercise that right, please make it known. If you are aggrieved by a decision made by the ZBA tonight, you have the right to appeal to the New Hampshire Housing Appeals Board or to the Superior Court. However, before appealing, you must request a rehearing with this board to, to preserve your right to appeal. Rehearing request must be filed within 30 days of the decision and state all reasons why the decision was unlawful or unreasonable. Failure to request a rehearing may forfeit your ability to appeal. I'll ask the board to introduce themselves, starting on that end with Jack, please.
Jack Shepard, Building Inspector, Code Enforcement Officer, and Zoning.
John Dovo, member.
Leonard Stewart, Chairman.
Jason Cody, member.
Judy Lane, member.
All right, let's get right into the business of the evening. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the August 6th meeting?
A motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Stay. There's still 3, so we're good.
Yes, yes, Jason.
I checked first.
I know. Okay, the first public hearing on our agenda tonight is the, I'm going to pronounce it Gagnon and hope I'm not slaughtering it. Gagnon Family Trust and Norman Gagnon, applicants' owners, are seeking a variance to build a carport that will be 10 feet from the side property line, whereas a 25-foot setback is required on a side street per section 4.3 other setback requirement in the table of dimensional regulations of the Goffstown zoning ordinance. The property is located at 38 Knollcrest Road, map 29, lot 12, zoned residential 1. Please, whoever is representing the applicants, come on up to the table and tell us about your project.
While they're coming up, I'll motion no regional impact.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good evening, sir.
Well, my wife and I would like to put a carport on because neither one of us are healthy enough to do any snow shoveling. And I have a bad heart. I have 4 stents and a pacemaker, and also I'm permanently disabled walking. So we think that would be highly beneficial for us if the driveway was covered somewhat.
Okay, just for the record, you are Mr. Gagnon, the owner,
Oh,
correct?
I'm sorry, yes.
Looking at the plans, I see this proposed carport is off the second driveway entrance on the
On Ashler.
Ashlar side. Is the plan eventually to connect it with the back entrance of your home by some sort of a covered walkway, or just to make it more convenient?
No, it'll be close enough that no. My daughter lives with us and she can do some shoveling. And she'll take care of that part.
All right, any questions from other members of the board?
This looks like it's movable. Is it, it's one of the prefab ones, right? Is that what I'm
Yes,
seeing on the
yes,
drawing
it'll
here?
be a standalone.
Okay, like from the shelter company. It's like,
Correct.
20 by 20 by 8?
I changed it to 7.
Okay.
Sorry.
So this is not anything that'll be set in footings or anything? It'll
No,
be
no.
movable if necessary?
I imagine they secure it into
Yeah.
to the ground somehow.
Yeah, anchor.
You know.
They use anchor.
They will be installing it.
Just a question, John, you're familiar with this type of construction? This is the metal roof type
Yes, yes.
construction?
Yes. Yes, comes in a kit. This picture in the back, this is where it'd be located,
Correct.
in that backside driveway?
Yes.
No, I don't think so. I think it's on Ashler, which is the street on
Right.
the side.
Well, it's the side, but it's
This is
in
a
the back.
picture of
Yeah.
the front. Yeah, this is a picture,
I
what
think-
you're
This is the
looking at
front?
is,
Oh, is that the front?
yeah, that's, I
Oh,
believe
well,
that's the front of the
garage
house.
under
I'm
is
sorry,
the
I
front of
can't
the
Yeah.
look at
house.
the picture.
Right, they gave the shot of the front of your house,
Oh,
which is
okay,
on,
yes.
whatever street it is, Knoll Crest.
Oh, okay.
So,
No, it's not on
it's
those.
up on the upper side
Okay,
of the,
okay, I see it
up
now
a
on the
little
drawing.
hill,
Okay,
and
good.
there's an
Thought that was-
entrance in the back,
Yep.
a path right to the driveway there.
Okay, that's off Ashler.
Okay, going around, Judy, anything?
No, seems clear cut.
No, I'm all set, thank you.
John? Okay, hearing nothing, you're gonna step back, Mr. Gagnon. I'll ask if there's anyone else in the audience who wishes to speak for or against this proposal. Please come on up to the table, identify yourself, and tell us what you'd like to say.
Good evening. My name is Charles Tentis. I reside at 28 Knowlcrest Road, 2 houses over from Norm and Cindy. My wife and I have lived here for 38 years on Knowlcrest Road, and I'm just here to support him. I think it'll be a true asset for him and his wife, especially with some of his health concerns. He's an Army veteran, and we appreciate his service to his nation, and I just think it'll be a definite asset to him and his wife to have that carport in his driveway. I know we don't always get a lot of snow, but we do get some big snowstorms. And I think it would be very, very helpful to both of them, so I'm here to support them.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else, I am going to close the public hearing, and the board can deliberate on this at this point. What say you folks?
This is pretty cut and dry.
Ready to
Pretty
make a
clear
motion.
cut,
All right,
yeah.
You want to do it?
No, you got it.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to grant the variance to build a carport that will be 10 feet from the side property line, whereas 25-foot setback is required on a side street per section 4.3. Other setback requirements for the property at 38 Knowlcrest Road, map 29, lot 12. finding that granting the variance would not be contrary to the public interest as it fits in with the character of the neighborhood. It should look fine from the main street, so there should be no issue there. Spirit of ordinance is observed because there's really nowhere else to put it, so I think that kind of makes sense. Granting the variance would do substantial justice because, let's face it, this is New England, we've got snow. So, and it matches the neighborhood. Value of surrounding properties will not be diminished because again, there are other carports in that area. And the unnecessary hardship would be that if he doesn't put it up, there's really no way to protect the driveway from snow.
I have a second.
Second.
Further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. You have your variance, Mr. Gagnon. Thank you very much.
I have a question. Do I need something in writing that the variance has been approved so I get my permit? Or do I even need a permit for a standalone? I don't know.
No.
The gentleman on the end of the table here is the one to talk to about all those questions.
Pardon?
You do not need a permit for a
I do
standalone.
not.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. I've never been here before tonight.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
You're all set?
You're all set. Don't have to sit through the rest of it, thank you.
Yeah.
First Sergeant, it's good to see you.
Yes, we had a nice
Yes, we
conversation.
did.
Thank you, have a good night.
Keep up the good work.
Okay, the second hearing on our agenda tonight is Christopher and Kim Kelleher, applicants, owners, are seeking a variance to allow the construction of a 75 square foot swim spa to be located 5.5 feet from the rear property line, whereas a 10-foot setback is required for detached accessory structures that are less than 600 square feet, per section 5.1.1 of the Goffstown zoning ordinance. The property is located at 6 Pleasant Street, Lot 34, map 34, Lot 44, zoned residential 1. Regional impact?
I'll motion no regional impact.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
If someone is the Keller, representing the Kellehers, come on up and tell us about your project.
Hi there, I'm Chris Kelleher. So my wife and I recently bought the house on 6 Pleasant Street. We were renting on 3 First Ave prior to this, and we got a swim spa, which is basically a large hot tub that allows one person to swim in it, and then there's one person that can sit in the back in like sort of the jets thing. Sorry, I have a swollen tonsil, so my voice is gonna sound a little strange. My wife and I didn't think we'd be able to afford a house, and we were able to purchase 6 Pleasant Street to our surprise, which was great. So we moved the swim spa from 3 First Ave to 6 Pleasant Street. In order to move it, you have to get a crane to pick it up, put it on a bed of a truck, move it over, and the company, Crocker Sales, puts down a, a concrete pad, and we put the concrete pad where we thought it would be the least obtrusive in the backyard, not realizing that there was that 10-foot setback. So the concrete pad has already been poured and the swim spa is already there, and I have the electrical dug for it, and that's sort of where we're at right now. That's all I've got.
How did you find out? Were you, did someone report you?
Oh, no, so I use Peak Electrical, John Damaris, and before he said that he was going to put in the electrical, he's like, you should probably get a permit because this might be a pool or not. So that's when I came down, met with you, and we kind of discussed what is a swim spa, because it is a bit of an odd thing. It has hot tub covers. It's about 5 feet deep. So yeah, that's how I
Well,
found out.
it's obvious from the pictures that were submitted with the application.
Oh yes.
The size of it, but I'm surprised that your initial contractor did the concrete work without thinking to pull a permit first, but
Yeah, no, that was through Crocker Sales in Merrimack. And they just came and I put down a general line of where I wanted the pad to be put, and they put it there.
members of the board, questions?
I have just one.
It's just
Could
designated a
could I actually ask that all of
Consider-
the,
because of
the
square footage.
required minutes actually be read tonight? Because I had a hard time reading some of the writing. I want to make sure everything's in here accurate. I hate to do that to you, I'm sorry, I understand
Yeah.
completely, but I want to make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be with
Sure.
what you're saying here.
Yeah,
Okay.
usually if you have a copy of your application, if not, we
I
can,
do not. I
Here's
apologize.
mine. They want you to read the.
because I do agree with
filled it
Ja-
out.
I
Oh,
do
okay.
agree with Jason that the handwriting is a little bit difficult.
Oh yeah, I'm a lefty.
to-
I'm sorry.
But usually, people don't have to read it into the record. It
That's
just
fine.
becomes part of the
So you want me to
record.
just read through it?
Yes,
If
if
you
you
don't-
would,
Sure.
please.
Name of applicant Chris Kelleher, address 6 Pleasant Street, telephone number 603-660-8166.
You can actually skip ahead to
Oh, okay.
the request for variance portion of it.
Oh, I
just
see,
some of the basic grounds of what the reasons why you're seeking the relief.
I see. Ordinance section from which variance is being requested. The rear setback, accessory of structure, description of why a variance is required. Setback from property line is 5.5 to 9 feet from the property. Swim spot is 75 square feet. I did 5.5 to 9.5 because I sort of kitty cornered it. So
So
the
it's-
closest section is 5.5, the furthest away is 9. Criteria and supplemental standards. Setback required is to be 10 to 15 feet. Granting the variance would not be contrary to the public interest because the swim spot hot tub does not infringe on the abutter's property. Sorry, it's my wife's handwriting. It's hard to read.
You're having trouble with your own handwriting. That
Yeah,
might
it's
be
not
it.
my handwriting, it's my wife's. I'm sorry, where did I, yeah, on a butter's properties, it has a lockable cover for safety. The spirit of the ordinance is observed because it is set back a considerable distance from the property, which is fenced. Granting the variance would do substantial justice because swim spot and pad are already installed and the trench has been dug for electrical. And yeah, we dug a 100-foot trench to get from the swim spot to the house to hook up for the electrical. The values surrounding properties will not be diminished because property is already something installed and abilities side of fence. Swim spa does not encroach on the property. Owning special conditions of the property, so 5A. Swim spa pad already in place. There's already a fence previously installed from previous owner between the two properties and does not infringe on that abutter's property. Proposed use is a reasonable one because it does not something on a butter's property and there is already a fence and shrubbery blocking the view of the swim spa. And I think it's a reasonable use. It's not a in-ground pool or an above-ground pool where there's like multiple people that can use it. It's really 1 to maybe 3 people that can use it at once, like a hot tub. Section B, swim spa is already in place and ready for electrical hookup. There's a fence between the property, and the spa does not infringe on the abutter's property. Other issues and matters, swim spa is 5 by 15 feet, totaling 75 square feet with lockable hot tub covers. Is that good? Okay.
Let me ask this, you said you moved this from your previous address on First Avenue. Is this something that you had installed on First Avenue, or what it was
Correct.
existing with the property? when you
No, we
purchased
had it
First
installed.
Avenue?
It was, to be frank, it was a 2020 purchase where my wife and I had a down payment for a house, and we didn't see the possibility of finding a house. So we used part of that down payment to buy a swim spa instead. Sort of we got lucky with this previous property owner at 6 Pleasant Street. I used to work for her in high school, and she basically listed the property to me without putting it on the market, and we were able to buy it, and so we kind of just found out that we had to move a swim spa. But yeah, it was in use at 3 First Ave for 2 years, I believe, maybe 2.5.
Because I'm just wondering how the installation got done the first time around without building permits.
That is, I believe that John Damaris did get a building permit for that actually, because there was a deck that he had just taken down and then put the swim spa there, and I'm pretty sure that there was one, but I was a tenant in that sort of scenario, so
So
I'm
you
not
were
100% sure.
directly involved in that transaction?
Thank you for reading that.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's funny. I might have better handwriting than my wife.
This is being recorded, be
Just
careful.
remember, you're being recorded. That may come back to haunt you someday.
That may.
I have no questions.
Nope, almost set.
No.
I don't have much. The troubling part here is, of course, the always asking to bless things after the fact.
I
But
totally get that.
given the extreme, I'm sure you've already gone to considerable expense in moving from one address to the other, so I'm sure there would be considerable expense if we asked you to pick it up with the pad and move it 10 feet further into the property.
Yes.
It does seem, though, in looking at the property and the depth of the house that runs all the way back from
Yeah,
Pleasant
it's a
Street to the back,
considerably
that
deep backyard.
yeah, there's would have been plenty of other places to put it, but I'm not in a. I can't say everyone makes mistakes, so part
I
of
definitely
our,
learned one. That's for sure.
sometimes they're more costly than others, so we can see them too. Anything from the board? Any motions from the board?
Now we have to do public
Oh yeah, we have to finish the public hearing first. If you don't have anything to add at this point, I'll ask you to step back, and I will call for if there are any other residents, abutters, anyone like to speak. Come on up, identify yourself, and tell us what you want to say.
Shelley Malone, I own the property next door at 8 Pleasant Street. The reason why I was here this evening is I've always been a phenomenal neighbor, mind my business, let everybody do whatever they want to do, as long as it's within your rules. I didn't know where this was, so I had to go to my property and take pictures. Because the last time, you know, somebody built a fence that's over 10 feet high, and it's literally less than 2 feet from the back of my building.
Okay, could you, just to orient myself, your property,
To
if
the
I'm
left
looking
of
at the
this.
building standing on Pleasant Street, your building is to the left,
Yes, sir.
heading down toward New Boston direction, next building down?
And I have no problem with what Chris is doing. I didn't know exactly what a swim spa was, so I did want to know. I just am more curious about how it got there, because what happened when they built that 10-foot fence that you cannot see through its stockade completely. They built a double garage door from my property into the back of theirs. So you have to come over my property to bring things into the back. And I have pictures of, I just had the property, the driveway seal coated, and when they were putting up the fence, they drove all kinds of equipment on my brand new driveway. So I just wanted to see what kind of structure was going to be built back there, so that I would know what I had to deal with if someone was going to cross my property into there without my knowledge and destroy the driveway again. So that's what more of my concern was. Now that I've seen and heard, I'm not as concerned, but it's already there and I don't know how it got there. So did it come through my property?
Can I, am I allowed to speak?
We'll,
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
we'll call you back at the end and you'll have a chance to respond and answer after Ms. Mullen is finished.
I just have one question.
So,
Oh, did,
nope, I'm good. I
did,
just,
did you make Chris aware that that entrance area was your property and he needed permission to go through there? Or did he know that that was the only way through there was over your property?
my driveway is right there to this, right, like, let's say this is the edge of my driveway. The garage door opens like this, so one door opens on my property into
And the other one
theirs,
goes in.
and the other one goes. So you have to, in order to get a big piece of equipment, you gotta go across my driveway from Pleasant Street into the back. And again, I don't have any problem with any of my neighbors or anything, as long as, but the damage done, I don't want to happen again, that's all. It was more of that concern about, but I cannot now mow the back of my yard the way I used to through, just around the side of the house, because the fence was built so close to the back of my building that a lawnmower will not push through. So I have to go out onto the street, on Pleasant Street, we know how busy that is, and go all the way around the building to mow the lawn. Not a big hardship for me, but, I mean, I just wanted
Okay,
to.
but these were changes that presumably were made by the previous owner.
Correct. I have pictures of when they were putting it up, but I thought, being in the job I'm in, I thought that most towns say 6 feet is the highest you can go with a fence, but I did not know, you know. So when it was being built, it was already built by the time they went up from the 4-foot, 6-foot section and doubled the size of it. So I was already built. And I certainly I don't want to get into, I don't want confrontation. I'm not going to get into it with my neighbors, so.
Okay, well, those are also issues that are kind of outside the purview,
Sure.
really, of what we're doing in this
All right.
hearing here. If you
Yes,
don't
sir.
have any, you know, again, sounds very interesting if they had to take a crane to move this in, how they managed to get it in, and if you were the abutter and are unaware of how it happened, I'd be interested to find out myself, but again, outside the purview of what we're really talking about here. If you don't have any, you know, objection, it doesn't sound like if
Never
we,
did.
if
Yeah, I've
we
never
grant
had a problem
Mr.
with it.
Kelleher the variance, he's going to be moving that anytime soon.
Right, right.
But you can bring any of your concerns, you could always go and talk
Yeah,
to Jack.
if you,
Thank you.
if
Yeah,
Thank you,
of
sir.
course.
Yeah. I've had problems, you know, concerns, but I just try and
Yeah,
Well,
let
if you
things
have
go to
things
be a
like
good neighbor.
property encroachment and you're talking about the possibility of it, if there's no easement for someone else to use your property there, again, Jack is the guy who
Okay,
you should talk to about the various zoning laws in town.
yeah. Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate your time.
Thank you,
And
Dewar.
Can I just clarify, the fence was, this has nothing to do with it? Never mind, I'm done. Got it.
Yeah.
It's more of
Is
a
there anyone else who
curious-
wishes to speak on this? If you do, come on up. Okay, so please identify yourself for the record, sir, and tell us what you'd like to say.
My name is Richard Duplo, Senior. I'm in a butter. I live at 52 Main Street. So the back of my house is on the
Is-
east side of their house. Oh, I'm east.
Are you directly behind their house or the next house toward
I'm-
the village?
My house would be directly behind.
Okay, I was trying to orient myself.
The problem that I see with this project is that the surge is a serious problem. There's 3 properties, or actually 4 properties. 52 Main Street, 50 Main Street, 8 Pleasant Street, and 4 Pleasant Street, all merge into a sewer system that's in the middle of my driveway, or close to it, and goes to the sewage that goes by 50 and 52 Main. So when they add more water systems, we're going to have a major problem. Right now, well, it cost us, the 4 owners, over $4,000 2 years ago to cut the growth in the pipes. And there was a pipe broken in the center of the driveway. And now we are receiving a little gurgle here, a gurgle there in our unit. And that means that whole pipe really should be replaced. That's a major, major problem. I'm 93 years old. I'm not going to really worry about it, but it's under the estate. My home is under the estate of Richard I. Duclos. So it'll be my executor and the disposition of the property after my death. I'd like to get the system resolved now, because I know there's owners behind me that are going to address it, because the previous owners were well aware of the problem. They had their own plumber do a roto-rooter to the street. I understand it went to the street, but it couldn't have, because I have since just recently I spent $500. We had it, the sewage that goes from my house to Fort Pleasant, goes across my backyard, connects onto the pipe that comes from the 8 Pleasant Street by my barn. Actually, I'm not sure, I think it might be even under the barn in places. Angles over the far side of the driveway, then continues towards Main Street, connects on to 50 Main Street, and empties into the town sewer. Now, the town, as you well know, the line is right here, town property. Whatever happens on the other side of that sewer pipe is your responsibility. Well, it's the responsibility of 4 families. And what we did on the last major project, the costs were allocated at 25% per family. So we all pitched in, well, it was $1,000 some odd a piece for this one small project where there was a break in the pipe in the center of the driveway, about, 20 feet from the main drag. Now, that 20 feet, they're telling me, has to be practically, the whole piping should be changed. They're suggesting putting in a plastic pipe within the pipe. I think that's a crazy idea, but
Well, in listening to what your objection is, I'm presuming your fear is that this swim spa that you're talking about is going to place an additional load on the systems that are there that poses a potential harm to the abutters?
well, the only harm will be the surge backup. I'm protected. I have a cash flow preventer, so it won't come up into my sinks. But it goes beyond. It's going to fill their home. If it's not, I don't know.
Is this all public septic we're talking about?
Yeah,
What is
this
this?
is,
They haven't,
this is in the village, correct? This is public septic, this is not,
Yes,
no,
the tub is not
What-
connected.
what
It's
is
a
happening?
self-standing unit. It's not connected to any drainage system. This should be, it's like a hot tub. It's contained.
yeah, that's.
This is not
that's the
connected.
thing. I'm
This has
having-
nothing to do with the drains though, right? No, nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing's
because
connected.
Yeah.
this being like a swimming pool, I'm just having trouble making the connection.
It's like a
Because
hot,
this
it's a
is
big
not
hot
going to
tub.
be going into, it's like a hot tub or an above-ground pool. It's not anything that's going to be draining into
The sewage.
your sewer system, your drainage system, that's anything there. I mean, if I'm presuming if you have a disaster and the water spills out, it's gonna go all over the ground, but there's no direct drainage in my understanding of this type of equipment to go, you're not pumping it out into the sewer.
We can make sure of that.
And, again,
David?
we'll question the applicant further if that's the case, but again, if there's no connection to the sewer line, really, it's not really a zoning question that we can address here tonight.
Yeah, you could he can contact the Public Works Department manager and discuss what's happening. That's a public work issue.
well, Public Works were involved with the situation of the sewage system back 3 or 4 years ago when we had that $4,000 project completed. And they had nothing to do with it. It's private property,
Right.
and the sewage is private property. The town owns nothing. The town has nothing to do with it. And the home now has been sold. I don't know even whether the new owners are aware of the problem.
I think they
So-
probably are now.
I would
They
say
have
if
to
the
wait
Well,
it out.
that's why I'm
backflow issues
here.
are gonna be very, very uncomfortable.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, you need some
Because
backflow.
But,
They're
Valves,
facing a
definitely,
major
somewhere.
cost.
but once again, this may
Before
not
they
be the
even
proper.
fill the pool or even build it,
So
they
his,
should take care of
Yeah.
their own sewage system.
yeah,
This may not,
Okay,
this
but-
is probably just not the proper venue
yeah,
for you to seek the kind of relief that you're looking for, because as a land use board, we decide on the use of the land, but as far as regulating sewer systems and things like that, those are items that are outside the legal purview of this board. There's really not a decision we could make tonight that would be helpful to you, unfortunately. And I'm not denigrating your problem, but I think that probably you would more appropriately, as Judy suggested, talk to the Public Works and the sewer, the sewer and water people there. They are the ones that deal with this and know what the law is, but it's something that the law does not give us the power to deal with.
it sounds like all the dumping is all joined together at a couple of points there, and there you go, there's just too much activity at times for it to
Yeah,
achieve its
I could,
That
output.
has nothing.
I can tell you horror stories from the
But-
area
but
where
yeah.
I live, but I'm not going to.
No, I mean, I have them personally myself,
Yeah.
so.
But anyway, I wish we could help you, sir, but again, the problem that you're outlining with the sewer is not something that's within the authority of the zoning board to deal with.
Well, I don't know what he's gonna be building out there, whether he's gonna have a bathhouse or whatever, but it's gonna be more sewage coming down the pipe.
Except that it's not,
No,
it's
no,
not,
no, it's
not
not
connected
storage.
to a sewer.
It's
No,
not connected.
even if he drains it, he'll drain it into, I shouldn't say a yard or the side of the
Well,
road.
drain it
but
onto
it's
the
none of
ground.
your
Wherever it would
business.
be
Yeah,
appropriately
right.
to drain it.
Just so it goes into absorb it.
I have a similar one that's for 9-person, and every 3 months we have to drain it, but it's onto the ground. It's not into any pipes or anything like that. It's not connected to any, that one is just a larger version that you can swim in. So it's a self-contained, you fill it up with a hose, and you drain it with a hose, gravity,
And
onto the ground. You don't put it, it's not connected into any sewer system. It can't be.
Well, I didn't know what he was, all I knew was an in-ground swimming pool is what
It's not in
it's
ground.
actually above ground.
Yeah.
It's built on a concrete pad and it's
Yeah.
like 5 feet
big
tall off the
he's gonna have it
ground.
above ground.
Yeah, sitting on a concrete slab.
I'll let somebody else help me out because
Well, I wish we could help you, but again, it's one of those things where there's just really nothing legally that the board can do to address your concerns. Like I say, most appropriately need to go to the Public Works Department. But thank you for your interest. Thank you for coming out. We appreciate people who come to represent themselves. Okay, is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to be heard on this? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Keller, would you come back up and answer a couple of questions for us? just to clarify that the presumptions that we were making are correct. This is a self-contained unit that
That's
doesn't
correct.
drain into anything once it's filled. You shock it like a pool or whatever to
Exactly.
keep it clean, that type of.
Yep, that exact thing.
treatment.
Use the chemicals that you would in a pool or a hot tub. I use hot tub chemicals to shock it. Yeah.
All right, anything from any other members of the board?
I got a question, as far as the location of it,
Mhm.
okay? You're at a diagonal, you already have the side porch. Now you're 9 feet on one side, you're at 5.5 feet.
Correct.
Worst case scenario, the electrical is not connected yet.
Correct.
On a worst case scenario, you need 10 feet off the setback.
hmm
If you were to extend that diagonal 4.5 more feet, and it slid over, you'd have the 10 feet.
hmm
And you'd be free and clear of everything.
Mhm.
I'm just putting that out there. And
Yeah, no, I
Where the
completely understand.
electrical's not done yet, that could be an option,
Mhm.
all right?
I would have to talk with the Crocker Sales, the people that I bought the swim spa from that put in the pad, if it was possible for them to extend the pad a certain amount and move it. I'm not sure if that's a thing or not.
It's
uh,
doable.
Yeah, that could be doable. I don't think I could afford it at the moment, and I would just, in general, if this doesn't go through, I just have to get it antifreezed and figure out where expenses can go that are better for a sewer pipe. Yeah, that's sort of where I'm at.
It would probably be at this time that somebody would have piped in and said, it's not really the purview of the board to tell them what they should do. So, you know, I want to make sure that that's clear. You know, we have to vote on this, right?
Yes, we vote on what's presented before us. You can take whatever suggestions you might hear from the board, but they do not carry the weight of the decision. Judy?
Just wanted to ask if you have anything to tell us about, can you move this? Not move it, take the word move out, right? Could this have been put 10 feet from the side yard setback?
It definitely could have.
With whatever you have going on in the rest of the
Like
plot?
before I put it in, if I would have put it in somewhere else, it would.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I didn't.
So the placement was totally arbitrary, in other words, is what you're saying.
I thought it looked nice, to be honest. It was set back and looking out towards the backyard. That was honestly what I was sort of looking at.
Okay.
Jason?
I'm good, right?
Yeah?
Good.
Also?
Anyone else? You can step back, Mr. Keller. Okay, I'm gonna close the public hearing and let's deliberate, folks. What is your thinking? Jason?
So, you know, I've been here for a little bit now and kind of learned a little bit over time, but I'm pretty sure that somebody would have said that, you know, when something is done, you know, when we're trying to get an approval after, sometimes, you know, to take a step back and say, well, this been a valid thing to do or ask for if it was done properly, right? Is there any penalty to, you know, that would really make us say, oh geez, this shouldn't have happened in the first place? You know, is this a reasonable request if it was done the right way? Did I get that right? Pretty close.
Pretty close.
So, you know, I think that, you know, that we've all done things where we've gone out to our yard and said, oh gosh, this would look nice here. And new homeowners sometimes don't know that, hey, 10 feet, 5 feet, 15 feet, they make a difference. You know, I think, you know, as long as, we always recommend, right, the neighbors talk to each other. You guys seem to have a great little neighborhood there, so, you know, if you can do it that way, that's always the best way to go. You know, I agree with what was said. I understand what the gentleman at 52 Main was talking about, but it doesn't have anything to do with this spa, so. And I also understand what the neighbor at 8 Pleasant Street was talking about. And I think her concerns were at least addressed, that she knows what it is. Civilly, we can't do anything about that. So that would be a civil thing, right, Jack?
Right,
So,
yes.
that's what I have to say. It's a lot, for me.
Well, thank you, Jason. Yeah.
I also agree that it was not because if it was done in the wrong way, the electrical would be done, it would be all hooked up. It would be, he put the brakes on when he realized there was an issue. And he did what we're supposed to do, come to the town. And I totally agree. That's all I have.
I'm good.
I mean, I will say again, we've all made honest mistakes, and trust me, I've made more than most. I'm just loath to require any changes in the project when it's at the stage that it is going to create, I think, a very unfair and a very expensive hardship on the homeowner, which I don't think is fair. If it was an honest mistake, and as John just observed, once it was pointed out, he stopped, put the paperwork in, came and, is trying to do it right. So, I don't see a great objection to this.
I'm good. Motion.
You want to be Denise tonight?
I guess I'll need to be
You're
Denise
Denise tonight.
No, I'm not Denise, I'm Jason. I'm sure it's not gonna come out the same way that Denise
You're the
was.
motion maker in chief.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the variance to allow the construction of a 75 square foot swim spa to be located 5.5 feet from the rear property line, whereas a 10-foot setback is required for detached accessory structures that are 600 square feet or less per section 5.1.1 of the Goffstown zoning ordinance. The property located at 6 Pleasant Street, map 34, lot 44. I don't feel that would be contrary to the public interest, because there hasn't been anybody that's addressed a problem about where it's located. It's been how it's gotten there or other things, but I don't see that there's been any public outcry for this. The spirit of the ordinance is observed. In this particular case, the pad is done, so moving it would move us to the hardship issue. Granting the variance would do substantial justice, because he would not have to tear up the concrete pad that was already poured and redo it. I do not see any impact to the value of surrounding properties. And the hardship in this particular one would be the high cost of repouring the pad in order to move it appropriately.
Second, anyone?
Second?
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No,
Four.
I'm not.
Oh, okay. 3 ayes, 1 nay. Motion passes. Okay, Mr. Kelleher, you have your variance. See Jack about the paperwork. Okay. One more item on our agenda tonight, folks. Raising the fees. I think that, this is coming from the staff, and obviously the town has been, sounds like, taking a bath on the postage fees for mailing out the abutter packets. So, I certainly think $2 increase in the filing fee is warranted.
I haven't met you at all.
I mean, I would say as long as the fee is clearly published and the town, we're basically breaking even on it, which is what we're trying to do.
Yep.
That's a reasonable request.
I believe, Jack, this matches the planning board fees.
Matches the
I
planning
believe.
board. How they updated their fees to match answer this.
I mean, could we take it a step further and say as long as it's not, the town isn't making additional funds over what it's spending, that the fee can be commensurate with the expense? And then it can be changed.
Like an automatic escalator kind of clause is what you're looking for?
Postage changes very quickly, so if we have to do this every 3 months because the postage changes,
Well, this is the first change that I can recall in
well, that's probably why the town's
several
taking a
years.
bath. That's why the town's taking a bath on it, is it didn't increase with the time.
You know, and I send out certified letters, $9.64. Sometimes it's higher, all depends how thick the letter is.
They weigh them. Yeah.
I mean, isn't the person who files responsible for paying those? Oh, I thought they were. Oh. Well,
Well, yes and no.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
I have to
Yeah,
pay for my
they have to pay
audit
$10 per, right now, it's $10.
That's right.
So if
So
they
you
go
want
up
to jump to 12?
You want to jump to
Right.
12 to take care of the extra postage.
So the applicant,
Yes.
The applicant absorbs
the
that fee.
application goes up.
Yeah, absolutely,
With
yeah.
the number of abutters, $12 per.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Could be a huge amount, right?
It is what it is.
I mean,
Yeah.
I just think that it should match what the postage costs. You know, if we have to spend $50 to notify somebody, then that should be the responsibility of the applicant.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It is.
You know, I don't see, it kind of makes sense to me that would just happen. I'm kind of flabbergasted that we have to make a specific motion to change the postage.
Yeah.
Like, that's an expense of the town.
Legally, you have to bring it to a quorum to approve it, same as the planning board had to.
So we have to set a specific number.
Yeah.
That's so silly.
Well,
Politics sometimes is silly.
it is what it is.
All right, well, I will
That's
make,
our new motto. I like it.
politics is silly. Do we have to make a motion for this? Yeah?
Yes.
All right.
Make a
Judy,
motion. Can I
Judy.
make one?
Yes, please, thank you.
I make a motion that we approve the request of
Staff request, I
the
guess.
staff request for the abutter notification fee on the ZBA application from $10 to $12 per notification.
Second,
Second.
anyone?
Yeah, I'm gonna even abstain, no, I'm kidding.
Discussion?
I'm not saying
Don't you
anything.
dare. All in favor?
Jack.
Aye.
Jack, I really have personal feelings towards that woman's
Uh,
driveway.
Judy, we
Oh.
haven't adjourned yet.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Go- GTV, please.